Hey everyone, got exams just around the corner? Feeling a bit stuck on concepts like leadership and management? Well, you're in exactly the right place. In this explainer, we're going to break down all these important ideas, make them super simple, and get you ready to absolutely ace that exam with confidence.
So, what's the game plan for today? First, we'll tackle the big one, the difference between a manager and a leader. Then, we'll get into the different leadership styles. After that, we're leveling up with some advanced techniques like MBO and MBE. We'll also see how India's business titans put these ideas into practice, and finally, we'll get you thinking about your own leadership style.
Okay, before we jump into the theory, let's do a quick thought experiment. Just for a second, picture someone you've worked with. A team captain, a project manager, anyone in charge. What did they do that really worked? And what made you think, maybe not that? Keep that person in your mind, because it's going to make everything we talk about today click into place. All right, let's kick things off with our first section. Look, understanding the difference between a manager and a leader is everything. It's the foundation for this whole topic. And trust me, this is a classic exam question, so you're going to want to lean in for this one. So, first up, who exactly is a manager? In the simplest terms, a manager's job is to get things done. They use the company's resources, people, money, you name it, to hit specific goals. Malayalathi parayuga onagil, avarode pani supervise chayuga, control chayuga, direct chayuga, and athanu. For your exam, lock in those three English words: supervise, control, and direct. It's all about keeping the day-to-day machine running. Now, how is a leader different? It's a totally different ballgame. It's not about control, it's about inspiration. A leader gets people excited about a vision. Leader en parembo, avare pradana kariva, influence arna. And get this, they might not even have a fancy title. People follow them because they want to, because they believe. The key exam word here, influence. And this slide right here is where it all comes together. This is gold. Just look at the focus point. A manager thinks short-term about today's tasks. A leader, they're thinking long-term about the vision. And check out approach. A manager might say I, but a leader always says we. Managers have subordinates who do what they're told. Leaders have followers who join the mission. These are the points that will make your exam answers shine. Okay, let's move on. It makes sense, right? A leader can't just have one way of doing things. They need a whole toolbox of approaches for different situations and different teams. And those tools? That's what we call leadership styles. Think of them as different hats a leader puts on.
First up, we have autocratic leadership. The name kind of gives it away. Auto means self. This is the my way or the highway style. Simple പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് പോലെ ചെയ്താൽ മതി, ചോദ്യമൊന്നും വേണ്ട എന്ന രീതി. All the power is with one person. They make all the calls, and everyone else is expected to follow orders, no questions asked. The key phrase to remember is centralized power. So, you might be thinking, is this style just bad? Well, not always. Its biggest superpower is speed. When you need a decision made right now, it works. But as you can see, the downside is huge. It can leave your team feeling frustrated and undervalued. It's a crisis tool, not a long-term strategy for a happy team. Next, we swing to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, democratic leadership. This is the let's huddle up and figure this out together approach. Inte riti, ellaurum kore alochichu oru tirumana mirukonudanu. The leader actively asks for the team's input, encourages ideas, and makes a decision based on that collaboration. And here you can see the trade-off perfectly. The huge advantage? Team morale goes through the roof, and you usually get better, smarter decisions because more brains are in the game. But the major drawback? It can be slow. Getting everyone to agree takes time. These are the exact comparison points you need for your exam. And our third main style is free reign, which you'll also hear called laissez-faire. This is the ultimate hands-off style. The leader basically says, you're the experts, I trust you, you handle it.
ഇവാര ലീഡർ പിന്തുടർത്ത് മാറി നിൽക്കും, ടീമിന് പൂർണ്ണ സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം കൊടുക്കും. They delegate almost all authority and let the team run the show.
Now this style can be incredible for helping skilled people grow. It gives them the freedom to innovate. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. If the team isn't experienced or self-motivated, it can lead to total chaos. There's no guidance. So this only works with a really mature, expert team.
Okay,
We've nailed down the different kinds of leaders and their styles. Now let's switch gears and get a bit more technical. We're going to look at two heavy-hitter management techniques that pop up in exams all the time: management by objectives, or MBO, and management by exception, or MBE.
First, let's talk MBO. Quick exam tip, remember the name Peter Drucker. He's the father of this idea. The core concept is actually really simple. It's about shifting the focus from just doing tasks to achieving results. അതായത് ചെയ്യേണ്ട ജോലി എന്താണെന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന് പകരം എന്ത് റിസൾട്ടാണ് വേണ്ടത് എന്ന് തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നു. Everyone agrees on the goals, and then they work towards them.
Okay, pay close attention to this slide, because the MBO process is a guaranteed essay question. It's a logical flow. It starts at the top with the big goals. Then managers and employees set individual objectives together. They discuss and refine them. Then comes the action plan. Crucially, they have regular check-ins to see how it's going. And at the end, a final review. You need to know these 6 steps in order. Now for the second technique, management by exception, or MBE. I love this one. The philosophy is basically, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. എല്ലാ കാര്യത്തിലും ഇടപെടണ്ട. വലിയ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളോ വലിയ നേട്ടങ്ങളോ ഉണ്ടാവുമ്പോൾ മാത്രം ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചാൽ മതി. Managers don't micromanage. They only step in when something goes way off track, either in a bad way or an exceptionally good way.
And of course, MBE has its own logical process. First, you set the standards. What does good look like? Then you tell everyone. Step 3, you monitor what's happening. When you spot a major deviation, an exception, you identify it, you figure out why it happened, you fix it, and then you use that knowledge to make the whole system better. It's a smart cycle of control.
All right, that was a lot of theory. So how does this stuff actually work in the real world? Let's connect these ideas to some of the biggest names in Indian business. Seeing how they use these concepts makes it so much easier to remember. Let's start with a true legend, Dhirubhai Ambani. His story is just a masterclass in leadership. He had this incredible vision. He encouraged everyone to dream big. But he wasn't just a dreamer. He took calculated risks. And he knew that to build an empire, you have to find and reward the absolute best people. That's a transformational leader in action.
Then you have someone like Ratan Tata. His entire leadership style is built on a foundation of strong values and ethics. He champions things like continuous learning and always getting better. He proves that leadership isn't just about the bottom line. It's about building something with purpose and integrity.
And finally, let's look at N.R. Narayana Murthy, the man behind Infosys. What was his secret? For one, a rock-solid strategy. But more importantly, he lived by a core democratic principle. He treated his employees as his greatest asset. He empowered them, gave them ownership, and built a powerful company culture on that trust.
So, what's the big idea here? What's the one thing you need to walk away with? It's this. There is no single best leadership style. It just doesn't exist. The greatest leaders are adoptable. They're like chameleons. They know when to take charge, when to collaborate, and when to step back. It's about using the right tool for the job.
So I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. If someone put you in charge of a team tomorrow, what would be your natural go-to style? Autocratic, democratic, or free reign? And why? Really think about it. The answer to that question is the first step in discovering the leader you're meant to be. Thanks so much for watching.